Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Ready to take your online presence to the next level? We're diving deep into VPS hosting today, specifically a provider called MonoVM.
Smart move if you're starting to feel those shared hosting limitations.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Slow loading times.
Ugh, the worst.
Feeling like you're crammed into a tiny shared server with a million other websites.
It's like trying to work in a crowded coffee shop during peak hours, just impossible to focus.
Exactly. And that's where VTS hosting comes in. It's like upgrading from that cramped coffee shop to your own private office. More space, more resources, more control.
Okay, I'm intrigued. More control sounds promising. But what makes MonoVM different? Aren't there a ton of VPS providers out there?
There are, but MonoVM really stands out when it comes to reliability. Think about it. Every minute your website is down is potentially lost business, right?
Oof, don't even remind me. There's nothing more frustrating than a website that's constantly crashing, especially when you're trying to run a business.
Right. And with MonoVM, you get that peace of mind knowing your site is virtually always up and running. They boast a 99.9% uptime rate, which is amazing. And it's largely thanks to their use of SSDs.
SSDs, you mean solid-state drives?
Yeah.
I know it's supposed to be way faster than those old spinning hard drives, but how does that actually translate to a better experience for my visitors?
Imagine this. Your website is a race car, right? An SSD is like swapping out those old clunky tires for a brand new set of racing slicks. Everything just runs smoother and faster. Pages load in a snap. Images pop up instantly. No more waiting around for things to happen.
So basically, SSDs equal happy visitors,
Mm.
and happy visitors are good for business.
Exactly.
I like where this is going, but what happens when my website starts to grow? Can MonoVM handle those growing pains too?
Absolutely. Scalability is one of MonoVM's biggest strengths. Let's say your website gets featured on a major blog, or maybe you launch a killer new product, and suddenly you're flooded with traffic, like way more traffic than your current shared hosting plan could ever handle.
That's every website owner's dream, right? But it could easily turn into a nightmare without the right hosting.
Exactly. But with MonoVM, handling that traffic surge is as easy as clicking a few buttons. Need more CPU power? Boom, done. More RAM? No problem. It's all super simple and scales right alongside your needs.
So no more dreading those traffic spikes.
Nope, MonoVM's got your back.
I'm liking the sound of this more and more, so no matter how big my website gets, MonoVM can grow with me.
Yep, that's the beauty of it.
Okay, that's definitely peace of mind. What about global reach? We live in a global world now, right?
Absolutely, and MonoVM understands that. With data centers strategically located in more than 10 countries, they make sure your website loads quickly for visitors no matter where they are in the world.
So someone browsing in Paris is going to have just as fast an experience as someone in Tokyo? That's pretty impressive. But speed and reliability aside, sometimes you need to get your hands a little dirty and really make a website your own. Can you do that with MonoVM?
Absolutely, they're all about control. One of the things they offer is something called root access.
Root access. Sounds a little technical.
It can be.
Like, do I need a computer science degree to understand it? What is it, and why should I care?
Okay, so imagine you're renting an apartment. The landlord says, hey, you know what? Paint the walls whatever color you want, remodel the kitchen, go crazy. That's kind of what root access is like. You have complete freedom to customize your server environment.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
So instead of being stuck with whatever comes standard, I can really personalize it, huh?
Exactly. Install custom software, tweak those server settings, really make it your own.
That's awesome. But let's be real for a second. That much customization, doesn't that require some serious tech skills?
It can. But that's where managed VPS comes in.
Managed VPS. Okay, you're losing me a little. What is that?
Okay, imagine you're a busy entrepreneur. You need a beautiful garden for your business, right? But who has time for mowing the lawn, pulling weeds, dealing with pests? Nobody. That's where managed VPS comes in. MonoVM takes care of all the technical stuff for you, the server updates, the security patches, all of it, so you don't have to.
Okay, so I can focus on my business, not on becoming a tech expert.
Exactly. You get the power of VPS with the convenience of having experts handle all the technical details.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
But backing up a bit, for those of us who are new to this whole VPS world, how does it actually work?
Sure. So at its core, a VPS uses something called virtualization. Imagine a really powerful physical server, like a giant computer. MonoVM takes that server and divides it into multiple virtual servers, kind of like creating separate apartments within a larger building.
So it's like taking one huge computer and dividing it up into smaller, dedicated computer.
Exactly. And each VPS, each little computer, gets its own slice of the server's resources. CPU power, RAM, storage space, everything.
So if one website on the server gets a sudden surge in traffic, it doesn't affect the other websites at all.
Nope. Because each VPS is isolated. Your website has its own dedicated resources, its own little piece of the pie.
That makes sense. And if we're sticking with this whole apartment building analogy, how does security work? If one apartment has a problem, it doesn't affect the others, right?
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. Security is a huge priority for MonoVM. They've got multiple layers of protection in place. Everything from state-of-the-art physical security at their data centers to robust firewalls and intrusion detection systems on each individual VPS.
So it's like having a security guard at the building's entrance, and a separate security system for each apartment.
That's a great analogy. They really prioritize security, that's for sure. Multi-layered approach, so you can relax knowing your website and data are in good hands.
Which is a big relief. Okay, so we've talked about the what and the why of MonoVM. Now, I'm kind of curious about the how. What kind of technology are we talking about here?
Oh, they're all about using cutting-edge technology. That's how they're able to deliver the speed and reliability we keep talking about. They've got these high-performance servers, SSD
And you know,
storage.
SSDs, right, the super fast drives we were talking about earlier. Those things are game changers.
Exactly. The race car analogy. That's SSDs in a nutshell, giving your website that need for speed.
I'm with you. What about their network, though? How does MonoVM make sure my website stays online even if something goes wrong?
Redundancy. Think of it this way. Your website's data is traveling on a highway. Well, MonoVM builds multiple routes to get to your destination. So even if there's, say, a traffic jam or a road closure on one route, no worries. The data just takes a detour and gets there another way. Seamlessly, I might add.
So it's like having a backup plan for your backup plan, no matter what the data gets through.
Exactly. And they've put a lot of effort into building a network that's both robust and redundant, so downtime is really rare.
Okay, now that's reassuring. Like having a whole team of air traffic controllers working behind the scenes, making sure everything's running smoothly. So, if I'm understanding you correctly, MonoVM offers the speed and control of VPS hosting with managed support, top-notch security, and a crazy reliable network. Did I miss anything?
You nailed it. I'd say they're a fantastic option for businesses, really anyone, who wants to take their online presence to the next level without breaking the bank.
Music to my ears. This has been seriously eye-opening, and I'm sure our listeners are right there with me. If someone wants to learn more about MonoVM or VPS hosting in general, what should they do? Where should they go?
Well, MonoVM's website is definitely a great starting point. They've got tons of information about their plans, all the features, pricing, you name it. They've even got a blog with some really helpful articles and tutorials if you want to do a deeper dive.
And of course, their customer support team.
Right. Oh, absolutely. They are fantastic, incredibly responsive and knowledgeable, like ridiculously so. And they offer like every way to get in touch. Live chat, email, good old-fashioned phone call. You do you.
Perfect. No matter your style, they've got you covered. Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive. Any final thoughts you want to leave our listeners with?
Well, if you've been hitting those shared hosting limitations, you know the ones, or if just the thought of managing your own server makes you sweat, VPS hosting with a provider like MonoVM might be just the ticket.
The Goldilocks of hosting.
Exactly.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of MonoVM and VPS hosting. I always learn so much from you.
It's been my pleasure. Always happy to geek out about VPS hosting.
And to all our listeners, thanks for tuning in. We hope you found this episode, dare I say, entertaining and informative. Keep exploring, and most importantly, keep diving deep with us. We'll see you in the next one.